Hi everyone, good morning, good evening. I am Loganathan from Loga QA Automation channel. Today let's get started with the basics of Python. So first of all, we need Python to be installed in our system, the laptop. So you go to this python.org website. What I do is I'll copy all the links that I'm going to show in this video and keep it in my notepad. And at the end of the video, I'll post it in the description. Okay. So first is the Python website, and here you see there is a tab called downloads, and under the downloads, depending on your OS, you can download the installables, and you can just double click and allow and accept and agree the terms and conditions, and you can get it installed. I'm using Mac, so I have downloaded this Mac OS Python .dmg file and I installed it. So as you see, the latest version of Python is 3.14.3. So I have used this. If you want to see the full list, go here, and then you would be seeing the different versions, and feel free to download whatever is comfortable. So as long as the version is more than 3, greater than 3, we are good. Okay, so download it and install. It's not going to be very difficult. If you have any doubts in installing, please reach out to me. And then the next thing is we need an IDE, right? So IDE is nothing but integrated development environment. People who has experience in coding, they'll already know it, but if you are a beginner, don't worry about it. It is just a place where you would write your say program, and then compile it, then you run it. So that is what is IDE. As of now, just keep it simple. So let me go to PyCharm. So there are so many IDEs available in the market, and we are going to use the very famous one for Python. Okay, because say for Java we would be using Eclipse, and also say if it is JavaScript, TypeScript, I would prefer to use VS Code. And very similarly, when it comes to Python, it is better to use PyCharm. Okay, you can use other IDEs also, it is your choice, but I prefer to use PyCharm. The reason is the options PyCharm is giving for Python is really cool, and you would find it very easy. Okay, let's go to this site, PyCharm, and then here you can download this. When you download, you can see that it is automatically detecting my laptop and my laptop's OS, and due to which it is already suggesting me to go with Apple downloads, Apple related downloads. So it is giving me Apple Silicon or the Intel processor. So I use MacBook, so I go with Apple Silicon. So check your processor, and then accordingly you can download the DMG file and then install it. Once you install Python and once you install PyCharm, the next thing that you need to do is you just verify whether it is installed correctly or not. For that, you need to bring up the terminal. So in Mac terminal, so go to Finder, and then not a Finder apps, and then type terminal, and then you hit enter. You'll get the terminal. And once you are here, so the command is python -- version. Okay, it says command not found. Maybe I should use python 3 -- version. Yeah, it's correct. So for Mac users, I would ask them to run the command python 3 space -- version, and then this will show you the version what is installed in your system. And if it is not returning anything, it means it is not installed. So go ahead and download the Python and install it. So as I mentioned, for PyCharm, I'll give you this link. Get the PyCharm downloaded and installed. And next is the command. So this is python -- version for Windows users to check if the Python is installed or not. And for Mac, it is nothing but python 3. Alright, so next is where is it installed, just to know it well in advance so that later point in time when you use PyCharm and if you're facing any issues with the interpreter, then how can you fix it, right? So you need to know where exactly it is installed. So for Mac, the command is which Python where Python, no it is, okay, which Python 3, yeah, correct. So use which Python 3, and then this is going to give you the exact location where the Python is installed, and you just know the command, it will help you the later point in time again. And if it is Windows, it is where Python. Okay, all right, so we are good. Now Python is installed. Next thing is PyCharm. So I have already installed PyCharm, and this is how the welcome screen looks like as soon as you open PyCharm. And the installation is very simple, guys. Download the installables, double click, agree to the terms and condition, it will install. So mostly you would need to have the community edition of PyCharm. Even if it is not giving you at the first few days, it's okay. Go with the edition that it is suggesting you to download and install. Maybe after 30 days, the trial period ends, it will automatically convert to community edition. So don't worry about it. Once you come here, I'll close things here. So welcome to PyCharm, I close. First thing that you need to do is go to file and then create a new project. And I'll put it in my workspace. So my workspace is kept in my documents folder, Python project. Let me create this project as Python project demo. Okay, right, if you want to change the path, if you want to give a new name to the folder where you're creating it, go ahead, and then Python version, ensure that here it is selected the path where the Python is installed, and if not, feel free to go ahead. And that is the reason I asked you to first understand where exactly the Python is installed by running the command where Python or which Python, and then use that placeholder or use that file path to tell your system where exactly the Python is installed. And as you see here, the interpreter, and I'll come to it in a minute, what is interpreter and all. So this is how you create a new project. Click create. You see that there is a project created in PyCharm on the left side, and under which you will see a main.py. It's a sample Python program automatically created when you create a project. That's okay, you can delete it for now. I'll move this to bin by clicking on delete. Okay, so today what we are going to cover, right, as a topic of discussion is variables. So let me go ahead and create one package, Python package, and I would name it as variables. So best practices, keep the characters in lowercase when you're creating some packages. So that's why I went with the lowercase v and then ARIABLES, variables. So follow that, and once you create it, under the variables, right click, say new, and say Python file, or yeah, Python file. Let's name it as variable basics. And we can put .py or we can leave it. So PyCharm will take care of adding the extension to the file, the Python file that you're creating. Okay, as you see, it has added .py at the end. Okay, now let's get into the details of Python. Okay, so Python is nothing but a programming language, and when I say programming language, you should know what are the different types of languages we have in the market, right? So we have, say, Java, and then C, C++. So all those are .NET, all those are programming languages. And we have set of scripting languages, say for example JavaScript, TypeScript, VB script. So what is the difference? Programming languages are mostly for creating an application, developing an application, and scripting languages are mostly for testing them or doing some light lifting, right? It is not going to do, or it will not be able to do heavy lifting. You can try, but I would not recommend. So always programming languages are best for doing the heavy lifting or doing the application creation. And also there is a difference in how a language is or any programming software programming language is getting converted into machine understandable language, right? Because here whatever you type, it is on a very high level English. So you are going to tell the machine that, okay, you do this. Hey, I'm saying this is a variable and you're going to have some content in it, and then I want you to do these manipulation on top of that variable and do these operations. So all these you are going to type them in English, but whatever you type, the computer has to understand in order to perform those actions. So how is it going to understand? So there are two ways computer can understand. One, it can interpret or it can compile. So basically at the end of these two actions, it has to get converted into machine understandable binary language, right? Zeros and ones. Everyone knows machine can understand only 0 and 1. So whenever we write programs in Python and when we do run, first it interprets, okay, and then it executes. When it does the interpretation, it does the translation. So all the commands that you have written will be converted into machine language, zeros and 1, and then it does the execution. So here, why I'm again saying it as an interpreted language is it will go line by line. It will not take the entire script that you have written and then verify if you have written everything syntactically correct, everything programmatically correct, logically correct, all those it won't check. So if the first line is correct, the execution will start. So that is the way Python is operating. So Python is an interpreted language, but only one thing that you need to understand is most of the programming languages are compiled languages. Okay, they'll first get compiled and then they'll get executed. So until you have the right code in your entire program, it wouldn't run. But Python is not like that. Even if you have errors at the end, it's okay, it will get started and then during the runtime it will throw the error. So that is the difference. Python is the interpreted language, and other programming languages like Java or .NET or say C++ and all, it is compiled language. Okay, so for clear, now let's move to the hierarchy, right? So as you see, it starts from project, and after project you are creating the package, and inside package you are creating the .py files. It is called as modules in Python. So all the .py files that you are creating will be called as modules. So remember this: project and then package. Under package you would be having the modules. So this is the basic, and now let's get started with the basics of variables. So first is, what is a variable? So variable is nothing but a placeholder, and in that placeholder or a memory location, you can put some content into it, or assume that it is a container. Okay, you have a small box. Inside the box you can keep a value or keep a material into it. So that is what variable is. Let me say a is equal to say 10. So now what I'm doing is I'm giving the variable a name. The name is a, and then a is the variable, and inside this variable I'm storing the value 10 in it. So why I'm doing it? Because so later point in time, if this 10 will have to be used in multiple places, I don't want to type 10 again and again. For example, say I'm doing this print a, and again I'm doing print a, and again I'm doing print a. Okay, so I have used 3 print statements, and how can I run it? I can right click on the file where I'm working and then click run variable. The name of the file it will show. I'll click on it, so it gives you the results. So it has printed the value 10 3 times because I have called this variable, or I've used this variable whenever I do the print. Say tomorrow I want to change, I don't want 10 to be printed 3 times, I want to print 20. 3 times. So what should I do here? I'll go and put 20 and then I'll run the script. See, 20 is printed 3 times. So first thing, the moment you put a value into a variable, you don't need to use the value wherever it is required, so you can use the variables. So that is the first advantage it brings in. Next is the rules that we are going to see, how we are going to create these variables. Okay, right. So first is a is equal to 20. Let me create another variable. B is equal to say 30, and then let me see, print a and then print b. Let me run this. So here what I have done, I have created two variables. One is a, another one is b, and I'm using them. So it prints 20 and 30. That is good. The moment I give a again and then say put 30 or 40, let's go with 40, you can see that there is a small indication under a, and it says, if I move my cursor over there, it says redeclared a, defined above without usage. So you have declared this variable a, but you have not used it, and you are defining or declaring it again. So that is what this indication means, right? So what am I doing here? So this operation, whatever I'm doing here, is called assigning a value to a variable, correct? So a is equal to 20, and in other programming languages we say that declare a variable and then assign the value, right? So for example, say in JavaScript we use the keyword called let. So let a is equal to 10, and then we'll print this, right? So say log 10. And very similarly, if you know Java, we'll use int or string, right? String, something like this, and then define the variable name is equal to Loganathan, and then we'll print this SOP, system.out.println, and then this name, correct? So whenever I say string name or int a is equal to 10, what I'm doing is I'm specifying that what is the type of this variable, right? So the moment I say int a, when I declare the a as integer, I cannot store anything else here. I cannot store a string into this. If I do it, it is going to give me an error. But yeah, when it comes to JavaScript, it is a little flexible. I can put let, and then I can initiate a variable, and once I initiate the variable, I can assign any value to it. So say I can put a number, I can put a string, I can put special characters in it. So everything, or even a single character I can store. So all those things I can do in JavaScript, but first I have to initiate it, right? But that I don't need to do in Python. So I'm just declaring a variable without any keywords. I'm saying a, and then I define or I assign a value to it. And coming to this point, I put a is equal to 20, b is equal to 30, a is equal to 40. So what will happen if I execute the script now? Any guess? Will it print 20 or will it print 40 in place of a? Correct, it is going to print 40, because what happens is when I again assign a new value to the variable a, it overwrites what was there in the a already. So that was the reason it was giving a message. You have not used it, but you are redeclaring it, right? So that is the reason it is giving a message, but it is not going to stop us. It is just an indication. So you can do it, but the best practice is, if you are going to store another value, go with a new variable. But as long as you don't want this value to stay in a and you want to overwrite it with 40, if that is your intention, then yes, it is okay to put a new value in the existing variable, right? So this is how you declare the variable, And then next thing what I want to show you is few simple things that you need to know in Python, right? So in other languages, the indentation is not important. So what I mean by indentation, so I can do print Loganathan and I play it, it runs, so it prints. And say I give a small space at the beginning and I try to print one more time, my name is Loga. And if I try to run this, right click and run variable, it is giving me an error, right? Indentation error, unexpected intent. So why it is indenting to or why is it blocking me from doing the indentation? So in Python, what we need to understand is there is no blocks, the explicit blocks. What I mean by blocks in other languages, Java, JavaScript and all, you will be using these curly braces to define a block, correct? Say if it is a condition, if you are using if condition and followed by the condition and you want to say what to be done, then you will use this curly braces to define your steps. Also there is an else, then you again put a curly braces and then you type your block. Not only for conditions, say for example if you are writing a function A, then again you would be using the curly braces to define the boundaries of that function. But here in Python you don't have those blocks created by curly braces. Instead you would be using the indentation. That is the reason Python is not allowing us to unnecessarily leave spaces when we are creating or when we are writing new lines of code. So I will come to it when I talk about the conditions, when I talk about loops, when I talk about functions. There I can show you how indentation can be used and what is the allowed indentations and how can it benefit when the user is reading the script. And also I'll show you a few shortcuts how you can indent it automatically. Your entire script will be beautified and you can easily, it will become it will become easy for others to read and understand. Okay, all right, so this is about indentation. Next thing that I want to do is the variable naming standards, right? So we already know if can be used for conditions, correct? Say the moment I put if, it is giving some suggestions, right, what we can use here. So likewise, and also I showed you creating variable names with single character, like A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20. But you can go with more than one characters to create your variable name. Say, let me give a name, city. Okay, city is equal to Bangalore. And now I can print this city. Okay, so far I was showing you right click and then run variable basics, or as long as you are very sure that this is the file you're working and it is selected here, then you can just click on this button and it says Bangalore printed. So I use the variable name which has more than one character, so I use city. In that case there can be a question, can I use, say, if is equal to Bangalore? No, it is already giving you the error and it says it is expecting something else because it is trying to find out the syntax of if condition definition, and this line is not as per that definition, so it is giving you some error. So basically what I'm trying to say here is you can give the name or give more than one character when you are giving the variable name, but you cannot use the existing keywords of Python as variable name. So what are the existing keywords of Python? It's very hard because it's a very big list. We cannot memorize. So go here and then see Python keywords. I'm using, let me see which site gives me more number of, not more, more readable keywords. Yeah, this gives. So let's take this. Copy. Variables, not variables, Python keywords. All these are Python keywords. I cannot use false, I cannot use none. Let's try this. None. None is equal to, say, test. I can't. It already says assignment to keyword. Right? It is not allowing. Let's try break. Or let me put it. So it is not allowing. So I cannot use the keywords to, I cannot use the keywords as variables. So that is rule number 1, right? So variables rules. No keyword can be used as variables. Good. So let's go to the next condition. Let's say I'm saying A is equal to 10, and then next I use capital A, that is uppercase A, and I'm putting the value 20. And if I do print A, guess what's going to happen? When I run this program, will it print 10 or 20? Right, it is printing 10 because I'm using the lowercase a here. If I use uppercase A and run this program, as you see, it prints 10, and then where I used uppercase A, it printed 20. So from here you can understand that the variables are case sensitive. Variable names are case sensitive. All right, that is number 2. And then what are the different characters I can use while naming a variable? Say for example, I can start with, say, int number or integer height. Okay, I put 170 in centimeters. Maybe here itself I can give int height in centimeters. Then int weight, kgs, is equal to 70, and then I am saying that string name is equal to Loganathan. Okay, now I want to create another name variable. Okay, so let's say string name 2 is equal to, okay, let us use a name Ravi. String name 3 equal to, let us use another name Akshay. Okay, so I can use digits in my variable. I can use uppercase, I can use lowercase, also I can use underscores. So int underscore, say, mark is equal to 85, or int sub 1 mark is equal to 10. Likewise, I can keep increasing it, right? So int subject 2, mark as 15. So I can keep increasing. So what am I explaining here? So when you are giving the name, when you are creating the variable name, so you can use lowercase letters. So you can use A to Z, and then uppercase letters, capital A to capital Z, and then you can use the character underscore. I've used underscore, but you cannot use any other, all other characters are not allowed. Let's see. I'm trying to put int number in dollar is equal to 20. It is not allowing me. It is already giving me an error. Any other special character, say int, maybe string name. Let me use hash is equal to 40. It is not working because the moment I put hash, it thinks this anything after that is commented. That's why it is not taking hash. So to put it very simply, I cannot use special characters in my variable names. When I say special characters, the only special character that is allowed is underscore. Correct? So that is the rule number 3. And let's go to rule number 4 now. Rule number 4 is variable name cannot start with a digit. What I mean by that, say you want to create a variable with digit at the beginning, say 1 name is equal to test. Is it possible? No. Let me see. End of statement expected. Variables dot variable basics, or I'll try to run this maybe. Let's see. Right, syntax error, invalid decimal literal. So the first character of the variable name cannot be a digit. So what that means, so say for example 2222 name is equal to test2 is also not allowed. I'll remove this. Same, right? Syntax error, invalid decimal literal. So at the very first place of the variable name cannot be a digit. So that is what we are understanding from here. And then the next rule is we don't have any limits, no max limits when it comes to naming the variable. What I mean, let's see. Okay, I forgot to mention, so in this, right, in this rule A to Z, there is lowercase a to z and uppercase a to z. So obvious question that you will get is, my name, can I have a space? My name is equal to Loganathan. Is this allowed? No. The moment I have a space in my variable name, it's going to throw an error. It says syntax error, invalid syntax. So I cannot have a space in between. So this anyways covered in our rule. It only allows lowercase a to z, uppercase a to z, and then a special character underscore is allowed. So if you consider space as a character, we have already covered saying that it is not going to be allowed in your variable naming. And one more interesting question people might get is, can I use just an underscore as a variable name? Yes, it is allowed. So I have put underscore is equal to test, and then now I'm printing underscore. Let's see. Prints. No issues. but in real time world nobody will use this. The reason is we prefer to have the variable names as short as possible. At the same time, it has to communicate the message to the reader what it variable holds. That's why I was giving the name like say int and then mark 1, int, and then I was saying height in centimeters, int weight in kgs. So the moment someone reads it, they understand that this container is meant for storing the weight. This container is meant for storing the height. So that is how we name it. So just by giving the underscore, it's not going to make any sense to the user who is reading, other than the person who is creating, and he can also understand only when he creates it. Say he comes back after 2-3 days and tries to understand what is this container for, he will not remember, right? So just assume that you are in your kitchen, and in kitchen you will be having different containers, and every container you will have a label, and where you will be mentioning, okay, this is say coconut oil, this is the seed oil, any seed oil, and this is your ghee, right? Just by naming it correctly, you can pick it up and you can use it. And if you are not there, if someone else is coming to your kitchen, they can also easily find out what is stored inside that container. So very similar to it, you have to think before you name your variables. Okay, all right. So this is about variables. And then coming to max limit, say I can put, I am going to put a big story as my variable name, and will test if it works. And on top of it, I'll add few more uppercase, and then some underscores, and after underscore I'll put some character, and then finally I assign a value 1 to it. Now I'll print it. Can you see it? This is the variable name I've created, and I'll print it now. And I run it. So it prints 1. Correct? So just to store this 1, I've created a variable and I gave the name as this. It is so lengthy and I can use, but if you ask me it is correct, I would say no, but syntactically it is correct. So there is no max limit when it comes to naming a variable. You can use any number of characters and any number of characters. Alright, so with that we are done with variables, and a few things you might have noticed already. When I'm printing it, correct, I am using single quotes or double quotes whenever I want to print a string. For example, if I want to print a string hello world, I'm using the double quotes, but if I want to print a number, I'm not using it, correct? So let me run this. You see hello world and 100, because if I use double quotes, it means double quotes are single quotes. It means whatever I'm going to give within those quotes are strings, and if I don't use it, it will be considered as a number. What happens if I don't use double quotes or single quotes and directly try to print something like say hello, and it's going to give an error saying that hello is not defined. So what it means, it considers hello as a variable. So let me put hello is equal to my hello world. Okay, now if I run it, you see that my hello world is printed. So if this is not here, if this line is not here, then this is incorrect. It doesn't make sense. Okay, so when you're printing anything and it is a group of character, then it has to be inside a double quotes, or that group of character should be a variable name. So remember that. And if not, it should be a number. Say print 1 2 3 4, it works. Similarly, when you are assigning a value to a variable, if it is a number, you don't need to use any quotes. If it is a string, then you have to use a quote. So let me use single quote this time. Then, so you see the difference. So print A and print B. So you see 1 2 3 4 5 and Roman is printed. Okay, cool. And one more thing you might have noticed, nowhere I'm using semicolon to close my line, because in Python it is not required. If you are familiar with Java or JavaScript, you would have seen that every line will be closed with a semicolon to make the compiler or interpreter to understand the end, the line ends here, the programming statement ends there, right? So to mention or to explicitly tell the compiler, we will be doing it, but coming to Python, it's not required, right? And finally, how do you comment? Say I want to add here a is equal to 1 2 3 4 5. What is this? 1 2 3 4 5. I want to say that this is my roll number. Okay, but how can I say it? Because the moment it reads this is my roll number, it is saying it is an error. Right? When I try to run this, it says syntax error, invalid syntax. So because program is trying to understand this, but it is not able to. So we have to comment it, right? So we have to say that don't look at this as a programming line. This is for my understanding. It is my note. So how can I say the computer to ignore this? Put a hash mark at the beginning of that. So now if you execute, the error is gone and this line will not be considered, and this is called commenting. And anything after hash mark will be ignored. So what it means, it can be put here also. Right? So still this line is valid because anything after this is ignored. And you have multiple lines and you want to comment multiple things. Say select both, use your control and then /. It will comment multiple line, and then select all, control plus again / will uncomment it. If you are a Mac user, use command plus /. So / is nothing but this one. Okay, so use that to comment and uncomment. All right, we have covered basics of variables today. Let me go back and see if we can summarize what we have seen today. First is from where we can download the Python and install, and then next is from where we can download and install the PyCharm, the IDE. And once the Python installation is done, how can I ensure the Python is installed in my machine? By going to the command prompt or going to the terminal in Mac, we can run these commands to ensure Python is installed. Once Python is installed, the next thing is go to your PyCharm, and in the PyCharm, okay, Python keyword. Okay, in the PyCharm, what you are going to do, you are going to create a project, and after creating a project, inside project you will be creating a package. Inside package you would be creating the .py files. This is nothing but module. This is the hierarchy of your Python project. And then we talked about variables, and when we say variable, it is just a container or it is just a memory space where you are going to store some values. And coming to the naming of the variables, you cannot use these keywords. That is the first rule. You cannot use the Python keywords to name a variable, and then variable names are case sensitive. Say if you are using lowercase a is equal to 10 and then uppercase a is equal to 20, then those two are two different variables. And you can overwrite the variable one more time by assigning a new value, and then you can use only these characters, that is lowercase alphabets, uppercase alphabets, and the underscore. Apart from that, no other characters are allowed. And variable name cannot start with a digit. If you start a variable name with a digit, it will throw a syntax error. And then finally, there is no maximum limit for naming your variable. You can use a huge sentence, but ensure that it falls or it respects other rules, right? So it cannot start with a digit, it cannot have space, it cannot have special characters, but within the allowed rules, whatever possible, you can go and you can create the very big variable name and you can use it in your program. It is allowed, but it is not preferred. All right, with this, let's conclude this session. We'll see in the next one. Thank you so much for listening and watching this video. Until we connect in the next video, bye.